On Thursday and Friday, we talked about solving equations using distributive property and inverse operations. So today we're going to look at multiplying binomials. And you should have already seen this a little bit before, but we're going to look at it again. There's two different ways that I teach how to multiply binomials, and those two ways are the FOIL method and the box method. You're doing the same stuff, it's just one has a pattern to follow, like the box. So it's up to you how you choose to do it. I personally was taught the FOIL method, but if you want to do the box method, do it because it helps some people to be able to have that organization with it. Okay, so when we do the FOIL method, we do first times first, outer times outer, inner times inner, and last times last. So if we're looking at number 1 down here, we'll do first times first. So y times y, what's y times y? Y squared, or y to the second power. What's y times 1? 1y. 8 times y, and then 8 times 1. Okay, so that's after FOIL method. Now you have to combine like terms to simplify it and put it in standard form. So bring down the y squared. Y plus 8y gives you what? 9y plus 8. And now on that second one, we have k times k. What is k times k? K times 5. And negative 4 times k. And then negative 4 times 5. Okay, so now we've multiplied it out. We did our FOIL, or you could have done box, up to you. And then we get k squared. And what's 5k minus 4k? 1k. Then bring down the minus 20. Okay, I'm giving you the answer for number 3. So go back and do that one later. Now number 4, we're going to multiply that out. So what's x times x? X times negative 2. And 2 times x. And then 2 times negative 2. Okay. So what's going to happen with those two terms in the middle, the x terms? They're going to cancel each other out. Anytime you have x plus a number times x minus a number, it's going to cancel out those two middle terms. So we'll just have x squared minus 4, and that's called a perfect square binomial. Okay, now number 5. Distribute the 4x to the x was 4x times x. 4x squared. 4 times 1 gives you 4. X times x gives you x squared. Okay, what's 4x times 3?
12x.
12x. Negative 7 times x. Then negative 7 times 3. Negative 21. Okay, now combine like terms. 4x squared was 12x minus 7x. 5x, positive 5x. And then bring down the 21, the minus 21. Okay, number 6 was n times 5n.
5n to the power of 6.
Yep. N times negative 4.
Positive 4.
Negative 4n. Because positive times negative gives you negative. Negative 1 times 5n. Negative 5n. And what's negative 1 times negative 4? Positive 4. Then we'll combine like terms, get 5n squared. Negative 4n minus 5n.
Negative 9n.
And then plus 4. Okay, copy down those answers for those last 4. Make sure you go back and do them if you need extra practice. Okay, so now looking at number 11 on the next page. We have two variables in here. We have x and a y. So we got to be careful with these. So what's 5x times x? 5x squared. And then what's 5x times negative y? Negative 5, because negative 1 times 5 gives you negative 5. And then xy. We can't combine those, but we're just multiplying them, so you just put them together. X times y. Okay, then 4y times x is 4xy. I like to keep them in alphabetical order like that, put x in the y. If there was a z, it would be xyz. And then 4y minus y, or 4y times negative y.
Negative 4x.
Yes, negative 4y squared. There's no x in that one.
Oh, yeah.
So now combine like terms. We can't combine anything with the 5x squared. But what's negative 5xy plus 4xy?
Negative xy.
Negative 1xy. And then we have negative 4y squared. Can't combine that with anything. We won't see too many of these with the two variables in them, but I thought we should at least look at them a little bit. We're not going to spend a lot of time with these. Okay, there's the answer to 12. And the answer to 13. And then we are going to do number 14 together. Okay, somebody tell me what 4c times 7c is.
28C squared.
Okay, then 4c times 2d, negative 2d. What's 4 times negative 2? Negative 8, and then we have c times d. And then d times 7c, 7dc or 7cd. And then what's d times negative 2d? Yes, negative 2d squared. Bring down the 28c squared. Then what's negative 8cd plus 7cd? Negative 1cd. And then bring down the negative 2d squared. Does anybody need to go to the bathroom? No? Y'all good? Okay, so now 15 through 18, we have a binomial squared. Whenever you square something, what are you doing to it? You're multiplying it by itself, right? So here we're just going to have x plus 4 times x plus 4. So x times x gives us x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 4 times x is 4x. And 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, when y'all combine like terms, you should have got x squared plus 8x plus 16. Okay, then on 16, p minus 7 times p minus 7, p squared minus 7p minus 7p plus 49. I did that really fast, I know. But p times p gives you p squared, p times negative 7 is negative 7p, negative 7 times p is negative 7p, and negative 7 times negative 7 gives you 49. Okay, and then you combine those, give you p squared minus 14p plus 49. Okay, now on 17 and 18, I'm just going to give you those answers, so make sure you go back and check them, or go back and do them and check your work. Okay, I'm going to let y'all copy those down. But down at the bottom of that page, we are looking at multiplying binomials times trinomials, which is just the same thing. If you want to use a box, this time instead of being a 2 by 2, it's going to be a 2 row by 3 column or 3 column by 2 row. You can still use the box though, you can still use foil. It's just there's a couple of extra things in there. And as you can see on number 19 where I wrote out that example, the top is where I distributed the X to everything. And so that's this top part. And then when I distributed the 4 into it, I wrote that down below it. And that's just a way so you don't write it out all in one solid line. If you see it, all the x cubes are lined up, x squares are lined up, x's are lined up, and then constants are lined up. So that's why I write it like that. And you might be able to see better what I'm talking about when I do it real quick. Okay, so looking at 20, I have k times k squared. What's k times k squared? K cubed. And then k times negative k, negative k squared. And then k times negative 8, it's negative 8k. Okay, then I'll have negative 5 times k squared. And this is where I'm going to write it below. So what's negative 5 times k squared? Negative 5k squared. So I'll write it directly under that 5k, or under the negative k. It just hasn't popped up yet. It's lagging a little bit. The internet might have went out. Okay, it's up there now. Or it's not. Okay, so I'm going to go through the rest of 20. So negative 5k times k, negative 5 times k squared gives you negative 5k squared. Negative 5 times negative k gives you positive 5k. And negative 5 times negative 8 gives you positive 40. So as you can see, everything lined up perfectly. And now I can just add like I'm normally adding up and down. So k cubed just comes down. Negative k squared minus 5k squared gives you negative 6k squared. Negative 8k plus 5k gives you negative 3k. And then bring down that positive 40. Okay, I'm going to give you the answers for 21 and 22. And then 23 is just going to be some extra practice for y'all. It's just an application problem with area. You multiply the dimensions, length times width of the big box, length times width of the small box. And then if you want to find the shaded, you take the big box minus the small box. And we may do that as a warm-up tomorrow. But let's get through some of these notes on page 7. We're falling a little behind because of internet messing up. Okay, so the standard form of a quadratic is always y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so a, b, and c are just coefficients or just regular numbers. And then those are the coefficients of x squared, x, and then your c is your constant. So when we graph a quadratic equation, it creates a U-shaped curve called a parabola. Okay, I've already done the first example there for you. So if a is positive, so on this one we have positive 1 in front of the x squared, it's going to go up like a smile. So it'll always open up if it's positive, if a is positive. If a is negative, then it's going to do what? It's going to open down like a frown. Okay, and real quick, I'm going to show y'all how you could do this in the graphing calculator. So if you haven't copied that down yet, we'll go back to it in a second. But this is what your graphing calculator looks like. That's the keypad, and that's the screen you'll see. So if you want to graph something, you'll go to y equals up here in the top left. And you will type in your equation, so negative x squared plus 3x plus 7. And then you'll hit graph, and it'll go into the graph, and it'll graph it for you so you can see what it looks like, at least. And then sometimes we're going to have to create tables with them too. So if you're in there with that graphing calculator, if you hit the blue key, the second key, then graph, it'll come up with the table of values. So anytime we're looking for a table of values, that's as easy as it is. Just go in there and do it like that. You can do the table on the regular calculators, but you can't do the graph on the regular calculators. But if I want to trace that graph, I know my axis of symmetry will be right around here, and then it'll just open down. That's just a rough sketch, nothing perfect there, but it'll open down. Okay, so we're not going to be able to get through any more today, so go ahead and clear off your desk so that I can come around and spray it.